Hey everybody, I'm Chris. Welcome to Board on the Floor. Today we're going to go through a full solo game of Posthuman Saga. In Posthuman Saga, you play a seasoned member of the fortress's militia, sent out beyond the defensive perimeter to explore and hopefully reconnect with outposts the fortress has lost touch with, while searching for scavengeable sites along the way. I did a video the other day on how to get the board ready and set up everything for a solo game, so be sure to check that out. For today's game, I'm going to be playing as a scavenger. You can take a look at his card there. My character starts with 7 experience points. The 2 starting skills I've selected for the scavenger are Scavenger and Trapping. Make sure you have your stories book close by because we will be hitting up stories as we go through our rounds and we flip some tokens. You'll always have right in front of you the round order. It's on both sides of the board. And I also keep the general reference and the combat encounter cards close by too, just in case I need a bit of guidance as I'm going through the game. We have 3 phases that are going to happen every round: morning, day, and night. First thing we have to do in the morning is eat some food, but on your first turn, because you're at your starting point, you don't have to do that. If ever you've camped the night before, you don't have to eat either. The next thing we have to do is flip our first round token. We do know it's going to be blank because it was set up to have a blank token on the first and the 14th round, but you can see here, it's indicated that it's a broadcast day. Whenever we broadcast, the first thing we have to do is move the mutant threat level token up 1. Then we get to choose which map tile and which scavenge site token we want. If I take a look at the 2 level 1 missions, the first 2 map tiles that I check on, I could do in any order. So if I want to complete the first mission, I do any tile and then a mountain, or a mountain and then any tile. And if I want to complete the second mission, I do any tile or the city or any tile. Whenever I start a certain mission, I have to complete it before I move on to the next. So I could choose which one I want to do first, but I must complete that mission before I move on to the next one. I have the option here of a mountain tile and a forest tile. I'm going to take the mountain tile, put it into my play area. Same thing with the scavenge site token. And now the other map tile is discarded. I'm just going to place it over here. But the other scavenge site token is going to be placed on our solo board in the top corner over here. And it'll go into the same row that matches the icon. So if we place 4 of the same tokens, you can see that there's different effects that are going to occur. And at the 5th, we will actually move that mutant threat token up 1 again. We could fill in each of these rows multiple times. Once it gets up to 5, we remove the last 4 and leave the first one there. And after we do that, we replenish our map tiles. So I just randomly am going to take 2 here. And the same thing with 2 scavenge site tokens. Now with the scavenge site tokens, they are not allowed to be identical, and of course this time they are. So I'll just put one back in there and grab another one. Now I move on to the day phase. And during the day phase, I get to select one of my 4 actions: trek, camp, forage, or map. Since I'm just starting the game, and I like to try and get some items at the beginning and increase my resources, I'm actually going to forage. I'll flip over to the forage action card, and you can see it here where it gives all the instructions on what we can do when we forage. First thing I'm going to do is place the map tile and move my mini onto it. And then the next thing is to take the standard loot. So for mountain terrain, the standard loot is a ranged weapon. So my first ranged weapon, a Susini DMR. So I'm going to place it in my play area. It's equipped right now just because I have the space. Later on, as I get different items, I may unequip it and just keep it below here. Every time you forage, if you want, you have the ability to do a mine challenge. And with a mine challenge, what it means is then you could actually get the extra loot that's indicated on the map tile, which is here, a food resource. I'm going to do it because my character already has a 4 for his mine stat, so he pretty much automatically wins. Whenever you have a stat challenge, the first step you're supposed to take is to choose a primary card. So you actually go through your challenge cards and you pick one to be your primary card. Then you place that on the board, and then you get to select 2 more cards randomly to see if you get the amount of stats you need. So if you take a look at the bottom for a mine stat, this card has a 2. Now, if this was my primary card, I'd take the 2, I'd add it to my 4, I already have 6, but I just need a 4 to succeed. So I don't even have to do it. The Scavenger is a good character to start with because he actually has pretty strong statistics all across the board. He has an extremely high mine stat, good speed, good strength, good melee weapon, and good ranged weapon. So what that indicates is actually the kind of numbers of cards we're going to have in the deck. The only numbers that really matter when we're doing the stat challenge is the speed and the mind. So I did my mind challenge for food. I get an extra resource for food, place it here. In a regular game, there's 1 morning action per player. But in the solo mode, you can actually have a second action every day if you spend food. So right now I could actually spend this food and have one more action for this day. And for the heck of it, to just get things moving along, I think I'm going to trek and march. So there's two ways that you could actually travel around the board. You can march or you can move. To move, you could actually go onto an already revealed tile. But to march means you could actually explore an unexplored space and reveal a tile. You don't move it from your play area, you move it from the stacks in the back. So to march, you also have to take 1 fatigue. So if I move from 0 to the first fatigue, it actually tells me to move my morale down 1. I'm just going to grab a random map tile, and it is a rural tile. Because I am trekking onto it, I move my character, and I have to have an enemy encounter. I'm still at the beginning of the game, so I'm only going to encounter a level 1 enemy. So I go over here to the level 1 enemy card deck, and I just take the first one off the top. So we have a Spitter, a mutant enemy with a health of 2. It starts off with a ranged combat that's Spit. During ranged combat, if this enemy damages you, suffer a mutation. You cannot suffer further mutations during this encounter. If their ranged attack is successful, I will get a minor mutation card. And then we move on to the melee attack, and they get 3 dice they could use. If I survive this encounter, I get 1 experience point. If I defeat the Spitter, then I get ammo and 1 experience point. I'm just going to place it here. I'm going to prepare the dice that they need. So 2 blue dice at the beginning. When it comes to a range attack, you got to take a look at the enemy card and then your weapon card to see the range order. If I use the Colt 9mm, it has also got a range value of 1, just like the Spitter, so it will do damage to each other simultaneously. If I'd use this assault rifle over here, since it has a range of 2, it means I would go first. So if I do enough damage to it to kill it, it won't actually attack me. So let's do that. Why not? So I'm going to use 1 ammo. And there are 2 ways that I could boost this weapon. I could discard another bullet to gain another shot icon. That's a success. Or I may exhaust one of my boost cubes and gain a higher range value. I don't need a higher range value right now, but I may need another success. So we'll see once I pick my primary challenge card. So I'm going to go through. This is not a very strong enemy. And with this weapon, if I get 4 successes, it does 2 damage. And this enemy only has 2 health. So let's see if that might be possible. I could use this perfect shot. It is a great card. I will place it over here on my player board because I do exhaust the primary card when I use it. And the only way to get it back is to camp later on and use one of my 4 recovery points to get it back. So that goes there, perfect shot. Now I shuffle the rest of my cards and I pick one. And I see here I got 3 plus 2, that's 5. And on here, if I have 5, that actually gives me 3 damage. It's overkill, I don't need it. But it does kill this enemy before that enemy has a chance to attack me, which is great. This card goes back into my deck. The other one's exhausted. And I get to see what this enemy gives me. It gives me 1 ammo and 1 experience. So I'm going to go here, add up my experience. I'm going to grab an ammo, put it up here into my resources, place this underneath. Because I've successfully survived and or killed an enemy, what I can do now is place a mission token on this tile. And I'm going to start to try and complete one of my missions. Which mission I choose to complete will all depend on the next map tile I get. Now that the day is over, I move to the night phase, and in the night I get to spend experience points and replenish any terrains that may be empty. So right now both of them are full. I don't have to do that. I don't have enough experience points to spend on anything right now. So that's the end of our first round. Now that we move on to the next day, we start it all over again. Go back to our morning phase. First thing we have to do is eat, get rid of 1 food. Then we flip our round token. It's blank again, just means we're not going to resolve a story encounter, but we're broadcasting still. So I got to move the mutant threat level up 1. Next, I get to choose a map tile. I'm going to go with the city since that's part of that second mission. And I think that'll be the mission that I'm going to try and complete. Move this Scavenger site token to the solo board and discard this extra map tile and then replenish it. And as we go through the game, we're just going to keep doing this again and again until we complete our missions and avoid mutants as much as we possibly can. Now, let's move on to our day. I'm just going to move these dice away. And I think I'm going to trek once again to start moving forward with my mission onto this city tile. One thing I could have done before too, which I didn't, is every time you trek and you either survive or defeat an enemy, you can place one of your Scavenger site tokens on a map tile. I just didn't do it. But now that I'm trekking, I have to have another combat encounter. So I'm going to flip for the next mutant card. And here we have Man Shield, a mutant enemy. It's got a health of 3. It doesn't have a ranged combat, so I get to actually attack it with my ranged combat and it won't retaliate whatsoever. But it does have a pretty strong melee attack. And of course, if it actually causes me any damage, I will take one of those minor mutation cards. If I win, I get a food token and 1 experience point. If I survive, I just get the experience point. Let's get the dice ready. 2 red and a green. And to start off, I'm going to use the rifle again. I'll exhaust the point blank card because it's going to give me 2 successes. But then, of course, if I make my way down to the melee combat, it gives me 1 damage. And so shuffle these. So I got 3 shots. If I go to 4, I get a 2 thing, but I'll let it attack me. It's not that great. But I could use my gun, boost again, and that'll give me 4, which will be 2. Yeah, maybe I should do that. So I'm going to waste this ammo to burst on this enemy, which means I'm going to get 1 more success. So with 4 successes, I get 2 damage. So I'm going to take these counters here, place it there. So it has 2 damage. Now I go back and we move on to the melee. For melee, I have 1 damage, but I need to pick another card to see if I get any type of successes, which is good. I get 1 success and 1 shield. So if it does me any damage, I could actually block it. With 3 dice, it has the ability to get a lot of attacks in, and it also has already 1 success. So let's roll and see how many successes. I only have 1 success and 1 block. It has 2 successes and 1 damage. I have 1 success, so 2 minus 1 means it has an advantage of 1. For 1, it attacks me for 1 damage on top of the 1 damage it rolled. So it attacks me for 2, but I have a shield to block 1. So it attacks me for 1. So that means I have 1 damage here, but I also get a minor mutation card, which we will look at in a second. And I do defeat it because I have the 1 success here, which is great. And so I will get a food and an experience point. Put this back in the deck. And now let's take a look at our minor mutation. During a broadcast, if your bid ties with any other bids, take the position of the tied player lowest on the player order track. This mutation only actually affects people in a multiplayer game. We'll hold on to it for now, but it's not going to really do anything. And we defeat our second enemy. Did we get the food and the experience? Yes, we did. And we're going to place another mission token. So if we take a look at our mission, we've done the question mark, which we're going to start off with our rural. We've done a city. So the last place we have to trek is rural again. Sadly, there are no map tiles that are rural just yet, but there are options we have to try and switch up some of the map tiles that are available. I'm also going to place a Scavenger site because we might be able to get some of these recon objectives as we move along. So I'll place this one here. Since we have an extra food, maybe I'm going to do a second day action once again. But this time, I think I will do the map action. So with the map action, we could recover 2 broadcast tokens or refresh the terrain and scavenge site in the map queue. We also have another option when we're playing solo, and we could use our broadcast tokens to discard map tiles and refresh them again. So I'm going to refresh the terrain and the scavenge sites. I just got to spend my food for that because I don't want these 2. And let's see if we could actually score a rural one. Yes, we did. Oh, we scored 2. And so what you could do as you're going through too is be aware of what scavenge sites are already on the solo board, because as they start filling up, there's negative consequences. So pay attention. Right now, I think it would be smarter to choose this one here. Actually, because this is a map action, I don't have to place that scavenge site token over there. That's only at the beginning when we broadcast. And so I perform my map action. I got this tile. I also got a second scavenge site. And now I could place this onto the terrain anywhere I want. So I'm going to place it here. I also get to place scavenge site tokens anywhere I want adjacent to where I am. I'm just going to put this one here, and I'll put this one here. That ends our day, and we move on to the night. I don't know if I'm going to spend any experience points, but you know what? Actually, I'm going to use my trapping skill card, spend one of these boost cubes, and get another food. So I have two options here if I want to use my experience points right now. I could get the meditate skill or the defensive stance skill. Actually, I'm going to spend it and get this. So when I forage, I recover one boost cube. So I'm going to spend the 2 experience points. Now I could replenish some terrain because I did take one and a Scavenger site token. That's the end of our second day. Now, next day, we eat some food. We flip a token. Oh, it's the blank one again. And today, we don't broadcast. We actually pick an event card. Top of our deck right here. We flip it over. Sapiens Cleansing event. With their numbers growing every day, fanatics from the Church of Sapiens scour the lands, hunting for mutants. If there's the faintest sign of mutation on you, too bad. You're marked out for a painful death in the name of the Pure One. If you have a visible mutation token, immediately suffer 1 fatigue or lose 2 health. Discard this card after resolving it. We don't actually have a visible mutation. We are mutated, but it's not a visible mutation. So we could actually just discard this. Also at the bottom, if we would have a charismatic follower, we could ignore this effect, but we don't. But either way, we just put this back at the bottom of the deck and move on. Onto the day phase, and I might as well try and complete my mission by trekking again. So I'm going to move here, flip an encounter card. Oh, another man shield. Now, I don't have any more bullets, so I'm out of ammo. That means I can't actually perform a ranged attack. I only have the ability to do a melee attack. I'm going to use my hunting knife, and sadly, I don't think I'll be able to defeat it. All right, let's do our best and try and just not maybe get another mutation. I'm going to use this, which gives me 1 success and 1 defense. And then I will shuffle these cards. Nice. I got 3 successes. Now let's roll for our enemy. And they have 2 red and a green, and they already have 1 success. And they now have 4 successes. So 4 successes minus my 3 successes leaves 1. They get 1 damage, but I have a shield which blocks that. So neither of us actually take any damage, which is good, which means I don't get any mutation. So we don't defeat the enemy, but we survive it, and that means we get 1 experience point and it runs away. But we still get to complete our mission. So let's put a mission token here, and our final mission token looks like that. We place it here. Yay! And then we're going to put this over here to say that this mission has been completed. Because we completed one of our missions, we move the mutant threat level tracker back 1. I do have some food left, so I'm going to do a second day action. And this time I'm actually going to camp. So I'm going to spend the food. Let's take a look at the camp action. Place your camp token on the terrain you occupy. You may now spend up to 4 recovery points. So I'm going to take the camp token, put it here. And for our 4 recovery points, I'm going to take 1 boost cube, 1 morale, and I'm going to take 2 random cards. So shuffle these. 1, 2. So these go back into my deck. Now it's the end of the day. Got no experience points I want to spend. The terrain's already replenished. We're going to move on to the next round. Now, because I camped the day before, I actually don't have to eat any food, but I will remove the camp token. Put it back here and flip the next round token. It's another blank one, but we are broadcasting, so that mutant threat level goes up 1, and we get to choose the terrain we want. Let's see, what happens if I forage from the city? I'm gonna forage. I'm gonna grab rural. I'm gonna take this one. Place this over here. The next thing I'm going to do is forage. So if you forage on a rural tile, you get ammo and food. If you want, you could probably have a house rule where if 2 of the same map tile types come out, you just swap them out. But that's up to you. Now I'm going to forage, and I'm going to place this map tile here on a landmark token. So what this means is when we get a landmark token, you see there's a number on it. That refers to an actual landmark card that we will take a look at later. We'll only reveal the landmark if we stay on this tile during the night phase. So now that we foraged and we're on a rural tile, we get 1 ammo and 1 food. And if we succeed at a mine challenge, we get another food. So let's just actually do a mine challenge to see if we'll get that bullet, which of course we already know we're going to win because we got a 4. So we get 1 bullet and 1 more food. We have enough food that we could actually still eat in the next day and perform a second day action. So might as well do that. I'm actually going to map. So I'm going to get rid of my food. I am going to recover 2 broadcast tokens. And then I'm going to take I'm going to place this here. Place that there. And place that here. And that's that. Move on to the night phase. Because I've now stayed on that tile, let's look at the landmark. Commune Clinic. The symbol of the commune hangs on a limp flag attached to the clinic's walls. The idea of mutants and humans mingling is already dubious, and subjecting yourself to their care might not be the best idea, but do you have much of a choice? While at this landmark, you may discard this card to recover 2 health or discard 1 mutation card. I don't think I'm going to use this just yet, so I'm going to just place it over here. And we know that it's available because I don't want to waste it because I'll only either recover 1 health or get rid of a mutation card that really isn't affecting me too much. We're going to replenish our terrain. Oop. It's now the next day. We're going to eat some food, flip a morning token. It's another blank token, and it's an event card day. So let's flip this. Extra broadcast. You wake up to a welcome message from the fortress. The broadcast team is going to be taking a double shift today. Give us a shout if you need help locating those scavenge sites. When you map, you may swap 1 scavenge site from your hand for 1 from the map queue. Leave this card in play until the next event card is drawn. So we'll leave this card in play here. If we use the map action anytime from now until the next event card is pulled, we get to take advantage of this. That means we get to swap out a scavenge site if we want to. Yeah, I think first I will forage, get some food, and then I'll map as a second day action. So I'm going to move over here and forage on this forest tile. That's going to give us 2 food and a resource of our choosing. And the resources are the pills, the booze, or the book. So the booze gives us back a boost cube, the pills heals our health, and the book heals our morale. Right now, I think I'm going to get a blue pill, and then I'm going to use it later to heal my health. We could also perform a mine challenge, which we will automatically succeed at, so I'll do that and get 2 more food. For my second day action, I'm going to map, and I want that mountain tile. So I'm going to take this and this. And I'm going to place the mountain here. Reveal that landmark token. And do I want that there? Yeah, why not? A little bit of mapping and a little bit of foraging. Not a very exciting day. Move on to the night phase. And I'll just replenish the map. Another forest. And then on to our next day where we eat. And we're going to flip. And our first story encounter. If we ever flip over one of the morning tokens and it actually has our face on it, that means it's a story encounter. So we reach into the story encounter bag and pull out a token. 49. I'm just going to place it here so we could always reference it if we need to. With every story encounter, we have to take a look at the storybook. So we flip it over to number 49, the Siren Song. It's the most beautiful sound you've ever heard, a voice you would call angelic if you didn't know better. It leads you to a circle of women cowled in black robes, their black hair hanging long over their faces. The voice is joined by another and another until all the women are singing, each to each. It is almost unbearably beautiful. So A, you let yourself be entranced by the call. B, you try to pull yourself away from the allure of the call. Take a mind challenge, success on 4, major success on 5. See if you have an insightful follower, ... I don't have an insightful follower. I'm going to try to do a mind challenge of B. So I have to have a success on 4, which is what I already have. So let's do a major success on 5 and see what happens. So instead of actually picking a primary card, I'm just going to flip 2 and see if I could turn my 4 into a 5 to get a major success. And I just did. So put that back in here. And so a major success for B. You resist the allure of the song, but as soon as you do, its tone changes. It becomes a brick wall slamming into you at 100 miles an hour. It knocks all the air out of you, but you're strong. You stare down the pain and power through it, freeing yourself from the song's pull, +2 experience, +2 morale. I can move that up 1, and I get 2 experience points. Not a bad story encounter for our first one. It's also a broadcast day, so we got to move this threat level up, and we got to pick one of these map tiles. I'm going to pick this one because if we do forage on it and do a mind challenge, we will get a follower. And so let's see. Today we are going to trek. The second one has to be a city. No, sorry. The second one has to be a mountain in any order. Let's trek here. Twitchy, mutant enemy. 2 health. No ranged attack. And for the melee attack, if this enemy survives the encounter, lose 1 health. All right. I do have some ammo, so I'm going to start with a ranged attack. Let's pick our primary card. I need to try and get up to 4 shots, so let's use perfect shot again. And then see what we get. All right, so I got 4, so that does 2. That means I defeat the Twitchy, and I get a resource of my choice and experience point. I'm gonna get some booze. Save that for later. This guy goes away, and I get to complete that mission. Put a mission token on here. Should I spend food to do it again? Yes. I find you actually really do have to take advantage of that second day action. Otherwise, you don't have enough time to complete your missions. The mutant threat level counter will go up because there's so many broadcasts happening that you really only have 4 or 5 chances before the game is over. So taking that second day action is the only way you could really complete your missions. And so what I can do now, if I want, I could forage again, or I could camp. I think maybe I'll forage. Where should I go? A weapon and some resources or some food? But I will get food anyway. All right, I'm going to go forage in the mountains. Oh no, I shouldn't though. Because I will want to trek in that mountain next, right? All right, let's just forage in the woods. You're going to get 2 food. Let's get another health pill just in case. And 2 more food because of our mind challenge. So we're doing good for food. Though we have to spend some food, right? Forgot to do that. All right, so that's the end of our day. This goes back in our pile. During the night, I have 4 experience points, so maybe I could actually find a skill I want to upgrade. Actually, yeah, I'm going to spend 3 and get the planned move skill card and add it to my challenge deck. So this one is done. 1, 2, 3. And that's all I can do in my night. So let's move on to the next day. Gonna eat some food. And now if you take a look, we have just flipped the token on round 7. And there's a symbol above here. What this means now is that at this point of the game, we're moving on to level 2 enemies and major mutations. So we could actually just get rid of those decks. I'm just gonna move them to the side so I don't accidentally grab them as I'm playing. So we have an event card. Storage caches. The Resistance hides caches of supplies out in the wilds to help their agents. The fortress sends you to the coordinates of some caches nearby just as you're about to break camp. They'll take some time to track down, but might be worth it. When you forage, you may ignore the terrain's standard loot and instead take 2 food and 1 of the following: 2 ammo, 2 resources, or 1 equipment card. If you do, you may not attempt to take the bonus loot. Leave this card in play until the next event is drawn. So I'm going to put this here, move this one to the bottom of the deck. So when we forage moving forward, we have more options now. All right, so what we have to do now is we actually have to trek over there. If we stay on this tile up until the night phase, we could reveal that landmark. This would be our first level 2 combat encounter. Ooh, a scalper. It's a human enemy. Mutant sniper. If you have a visible mutation token, this enemy rerolls all X results once. Thankfully we don't. But this guy is pretty strong. He actually has a range number of 3, which means he will use his ranged attack on us first. Though we do have the ability to use a boost cube to gain 1, so we could go at the same time. Still not great. All right, so let's see what we can do here. We are going to use our Susini. He has a health of 3. All right, we're going to use our maintain distance. We got nothing. That's no good. So we could boost to gain a range, but we don't want to do that. So I guess all we got is our 1 attack. So he rolls 2 blue dice. He gets 1 success, which he gets 1 damage on us. Then we go, and we got 2. So we get 1 damage on him. Now we move to our melee, and we have 2. Oh no, wait, we got to re-choose this. So we're using our hunting knife. All right, so we got 3 and 1 defense. I'm going to exhaust a boost cube to turn that into a 4. And now he rolls 2 white, a green and a red. Great, we got 4 and he has 2. So that means we get to attack him for 2 and we actually defeat him because he only has 3 health. Amazing. We get a ranged weapon and 2 experience points. 1, 2, a ranged weapon. Susini automatic. This one's heavy. So we only have 2 weapon spots on our player board that allow us to have a heavy item. So I'm going to place this all the way over here. This is quite a bit stronger than the other one. All right. So that means we get to place our second mission token here, where we have almost completed our second mission now, which is great. I could also do a second day action. Maybe I'll camp, get some cards back. Yep, I'm gonna camp. Put this out. I'm going to leave that cube there. I'm gonna recover. How many of my cards do I have? 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to take all 3 of my cards back and recover 1 health. Then I'm also just going to spend 1 of these, recover another health, and make sure I spend 1 of these. And that's that. Now, end of my day, moving on to the night phase, I get to take a look at that landmark. Hunting stand. Foliage and thick creepers have wound their way around the wooden structure, making the vantage point even harder to spot than it originally was. At the start of a combat encounter, you may discard this card to draw 2 enemy cards, then choose 1 and discard the other. Not bad. I do have 3 experience points, so I could take a look to see if I actually want to upgrade any skills. Now I'm going to wait. Move on to the next day. I'm at a campsite, so I don't have to eat any food, but I do have to flip a morning token. It's a broadcast, so this goes up. I get to pick one of these. What do I need now to complete? I need mountain, forest, rural, mountain. All right. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is trek. I got to complete this mission. I'm going to flip this. Ooh, Master Hoarder, human enemy. Peaceful. At the start of this encounter, you may discard this card and draw another enemy card instead. If you kill this enemy, lose 1 morale. This is the first encounter where we actually have the option to just walk on by. But we will have to draw another card. Do we take a chance? That's a hard choice. We want to just kill this innocent person. Usually, when I play these games, I take a lot of risks. Why not? Let's go for it. It's the same one. Let's do it again. Obviously, I need to shuffle this deck more. Ooh, a Watcher. So now we got a mutant enemy, health of 3. Of course, this is going to be a lot more challenging. Though it has a lower range number, which is great. I don't think it's going to be too bad. Though, if they do damage us, we will suffer a major mutation this time. So let's start off. Ooh, I don't have any ammo. That's not very good. They actually don't attack us with their ranged attack. They have a net. But if they're successful in casting their net, then it messes us up for our melee. So we got to roll one of their blue dice. We got to roll a blue die. Oh, thankfully they don't throw that net on us. Now we move on to our melee. I have to use my hunting knife. Penetrating hit. 2, 3, 4. Nice. I could also spend a boost if I want to. I won't just yet. But they get a red, green, white, and a gray. Ooh. Plus they also get 1, so it's 4 for me. And they get 4, 4 against 4. We cancel each other's damage out. That's not so bad. They run off. I get 1 experience point, but I still get to place that mission token, which means I have now completed my second mission. I'll put that there. Mutant threat level goes down 1, which means I can move on to my final mission. For my final mission, I have to trek 4 times. In any order, I need to hit up a mountain, a forest, and a rural map tile, and then I got to end on a mountain. There is an available mountain here, and I do have a forest map tile. That means I need a rural and another mountain. So let's see, I'm going to map just to start getting a few more tiles in my hand. Sometimes I spend way too much time contemplating my move before I just do it. And I end on the same choice that I would have had if I just did it immediately. I'm going to take the mountain. And place this. Place that. And that'll be the end of my map move. Let's move on to the night phase. I don't want to spend my XP just yet. We are going to move on to the next. Oh, and we have to replenish this. Perfect. That's exactly what I needed. So we move on to our next day. I'm going to eat some food. Flip. And it's a story encounter. 19. The New Zealander. A lone traveler sits upon a hilltop, surveying the scene of ruination and wearing the most ridiculous robes you've ever seen. "Hail, friend," he shouts. "I am a poet from a distant land that has been spared from this calamity. My spirit compels me to travel to this forsaken land. Such a sublime evocation of human frailty. He's too wrapped up in his contemplation to notice the mutants emerging from the rubble. A, you leave the poet to the mutants, take a speed challenge, success on 3. B, you try to rescue the poet, take a speed challenge, success on 4. I think that's what we're going to do. So let's put it to the side here for a sec. And now, this is a speed challenge. I'm still not going to pick a primary card because I don't have to. I'm just going to flip 2 and see if we actually, well, we already got it. 3 plus 2 equals 5. We succeed. We try to rescue the poet. B, we got 4 plus. You interrupt the poet mid-sentence. You drag him into a ditch and out of the mutant's sight. He thanks you and offers you the pick of his supplies as a reward. +1 experience point and +1 equipment. All right, let's see what we got here. Weapon upgrade kit. When you exhaust 1 boost cube to use a weapon ability, you may place the boost cube on this card instead. When you camp, recover all boost cubes on this card. Not bad. I'm going to equip that here just in case I feel like using it. Now we got to pick an event card. Perfect day. Clear sky above you, crisp air in your lungs, and the dreamy sound of chirping birds around you. On days like this, you wonder if the mutant apocalypse bringing down human civilization as you knew it might not have been such a bad thing after all. When you camp or map, recover 1 morale. Leave this card in play until the next event card is drawn. All right. We don't have any followers, so the bottom part doesn't really matter. We are going to trek over here, and we are going to have an encounter. It's a watcher, a mutant enemy. We already fought this lady. We're going to fight her again. We still don't have any ammo, so it is just going to be a melee attack, but she gets to roll to see if she casts her net on us, and she doesn't. And now, let's see, we need to fight with our knife. We're going to perform a frontal attack. Nice. We get 3 successes and 1 defense. She gets red, green, white, gray. Oof. 1 attack, 1 defense, 2 attacks. So she gets 3 successes, and we had 3 successes. So that nulls it. But then she gets 1 attack, but we have a defense, so that nulls it. But she gets 1 more attack. So she hits us for 1, and that actually causes a mutation. Scatterbrained, major mutation. During combat encounters, you may not gain XP from the survive reward. That's not good. So we did survive this, but we don't get that XP. We do, however, still get to claim the mission. So we place that here. And let us shall we forage or map? I can handle the fatigue, so I'm just going to map. Get this over with. I will take you. And then I'm going to place you here. Place you here. Might as well just throw these randomly. Get it over with. Spend this. End of the day, I'm going to actually spend my 5 experience points. I'm going to get the sneak attack upgrade. Get to add that to my challenge deck. Spend those. Replenish the terrain. Scavenge tile. We're going to move on to our next day, but I don't have any food. So that means I'm actually going to suffer 1 fatigue, and that's going to cost me 1 morale. Flip the morning token, no story, but it's a broadcast day, so this guy moves up. Oof. If we happen to have 1 more broadcast or something happens that moves that mutant threat level up 1 more time, we actually lose because it reaches the fortress. So a few things we could do to try and bring it down 1. Like obviously we could try and complete our mission. We just have to trek 3 more times. We could also fight a boss. if we kill a mutant boss, we could actually lower the mutant threat level by 1. Just to be safe, I'm going to grab this one. Put this guy here. Discard that. All right, getting close to the end. I am going to probably forage to actually get some ammo. If I don't, I have 2 more rounds before another broadcast. If I trek and I choose to fight a boss and I win, the mutant threat counter will go down 1 and I will accomplish part of my mission. But I don't think I'm strong enough, to tell you the truth. I don't have any ammo. Forage and try and get some ammo in a rural area, which is there. And then I could still trek there. Yeah, let's do that. Forage here. So I'm going to get an ammo, 2 ammo actually. Every time I forage on a rural map tile, I keep thinking I have to get 1 ammo because the way it's drawn, it looks like the deluxe component, but I actually get 2 ammo. So I have been like missing out on some ammo, but that's fine. 2 ammo and a food. And I'm going to do a mine challenge. And when you forage and you see the mine challenge, so I get to recover 1 of these. And mine challenge, I also am now going to get a follower. I'm going to get a follower and some food. When the nurse joins you, increase your maximum health by 1. I'll keep her here, and this will go up by 1. Most of I'm just going to heal myself. Get that up. And I'm going to spend the food. Trek up here. And I'm going to challenge a mutant boss. Let's see how this plays out. When you fight a mutant boss, you actually get 1 ranged attack and 2 melee attacks. So they have a health of 5. They have a couple special abilities. They're marksmen, so during ranged combat, this enemy rerolls all X results. Ugh. Tactical cover during ranged combat. If your mind is 4+, you may exhaust 1 to reduce the enemy's step by 1. I don't have that. All right, let's see if we can do this. So I'm going to spend an ammo. I'm going to use my automatic weapon over here, my Susini automatic. Let's find me a card that works. All right, perfect shot. Ooh, 5. I actually got 5 successes, which means I will do 3 damage with this weapon. Though the enemy gets to roll 2 blue dice at first. And during range combat, this enemy rerolls all. Ooh. All right, so it's only 1. So they do a damage on me for 1, and I do a damage on them for 3, which is good. Damage 1, and then 3. Then we move on to our melee combat. I'm going to be using my hunting knife. And so I have 1, and I'm going to flip this. Ooh, I only have 2. I'm going to spend the cube to get 3. They roll 2 red, 2 green, and a white. So I have 3, and they have 1 and a direct hit. So I attack for 2, which gives them 2 damage, which means they are defeated, but they hit me for 1, which means I get 1 damage, and I get a major mutation. Thick Skull. Discard 1 skill card, returning it to your skill deck. If you do not have a visible mutation token, take 1 now. Here. So now I have a visible mutation. So I'm going to take this little token here and just place it on my card so I'm aware of it. It might change how some of these stories play out once I have a story encounter. I do defeat this big boss. I move that down 1. I get 2 experience points. This enemy does have a special ability during a melee attack called Three-Armed Wonder. So if I spend 1 boost cube, I could just counterattack it. So I'm going to do that. And now I've defeated him. He goes to the bottom of the boss deck. Next boss is Buzutu. All right, so not doing too bad. That's actually the first time I've ever successfully killed a mutant boss. So I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm going to put that mission token here. And maybe I think I should probably camp to heal a bit. So I will spend 1 food to do that. Camp here. Heal. 1, 2. And I get to recover 1 morale. And I'm going to take 1 boost cube, spend this to get the other boost cube, and 1 more card. So with that major mutation, I actually have to lose one of my skills. I'm going to lose the trapping skill. All right, it's the end of my day, nighttime. I have 2 experience points. I'm good. Replenish that, move on to our next day. I'm camping, so I don't need to eat. I'm gonna flip morning token, and it is another story encounter. 45. Threads. Outside an old shopping mall, you're accosted by a group of mutants decked up in designer suits and dresses, gold watches, diamond rings, and far too much makeup and perfume. They drag you into the mall, throw you onto a salon chair, and if you have a visible mutation token, which we now do, A, look at you with disapproval. No, 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 you've really let yourself go. You can barely call yourself human, but we know just how to help you. Take a mind challenge. Success on 3, major success on 4. Well, we already have a 4. A, 4+, you talk to them about inner beauty and making peace with who they are. It works so well that they tear off their affected outfits. They thank you for the wisdom you've brought them and set up a great feast for you in the food court. +2 experience, +1 food. Nice. Sometimes it pays to have a visible mutation. And we're going to pick an event card. Snowfall. Just a few days ago, a light shirt and jacket made you sweat under the weight of your gear. Today, a blizzard sends snow flurrying all around you. It's going to be hard to forage for anything now that everything around you is under a foot of snow. When you forage, you may not attempt to take the bonus loot. All right, that's not very good. But we're very close now. 2 more treks, and we'll be able to complete that mission. So let's just get going. We got to end on a mountain range, so we're going to trek over to here. And we're going to flip this encounter card. Whisperer, mutant enemy. 3 health. Range number of 2 with voices. Roll the d6. If the result is higher than your mind, lose 2 morale. Well, we got a pretty good mind, so hopefully that won't happen. Since they have a range of 2, and so do we attack each other simultaneously. She will just roll the d6, and I will actually attack her. I have some bullets, so I'm going to go with my rifle, my Susini automatic rifle. Find a card that works. Need at least a 3. Oh, no, perfect shot. I'm going to spend you. Nice. We got a 5. She is pretty much defeated, but we have to roll that d6, which is this light green one. She got a 1. Our mind is 4, so we don't lose anything, and she is defeated. We get food and 2 experience. And we're now 1 mission away from succeeding. To tell you the truth, I've never made it this far. I've played this game solo about 5 times, and I've lost every time. Though I've never managed to defeat a boss. So that's probably what's changed up in this one. And I also didn't really take the second day action all the time because I didn't have enough food. So it's all really about planning ahead. Planning what you're going to be doing the next day, making sure you have enough food, making sure you have enough ammo. Like I said, I did take the wrong amount of ammo every time I foraged on a rural spot, but that's my own fault. So let's see. I should probably get some ammo. So if I forage, where can I forage? I can forage up there. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to forage, spend this food. 1, 2. And I am going to get 2 ammo and a food. 2 ammo and a food. And I cannot take the bonus loot because of that snowfall. So that's all I'm going to get. So I can't get that. Though I do recover 1 boost token, but I don't need to recover it because I already have it. And so that is the end of my day. I do have quite a bit of experience. So I'm going to try and buy some cards, even though we're right at the end. I got 6. Let's just buy this for 2 and this for 4. I'll move that down. So what I got was the defensive stance. During melee combat, you may exhaust 1 boost cube to force the enemy to reroll 1 combat die. And shooting focus. During ranged combat, you may exhaust 1 boost cube to gain 1 success. I think this is going to be the last day before we manage to complete our mission. I have to just go down there, and if I trek on that mountain and win, we've done it. So let's spend our food. Let's flip our morning token. It's blank. We got a broadcast, so this guy goes up. And we get to select a map tile. I don't think it really matters anymore, though we should probably select one that isn't going to do us any damage over there. So I'm going to pick this. So there is even some strategy to which map tiles you pick, because the Scavenger site tokens that go over to the solo board can cause you some damage, can also cause that mutant threat level to go up. So you got to be careful and pay attention to that. Two mountains. Oop. So one thing I haven't managed to do during this game is actually complete any recon objectives. If you take a look at all the Scavenger site tokens, you can see I didn't really do a good job of placing them. None of these patterns could actually be completed, as far as I can tell. Yeah. I don't have any gears, and I don't have enough shopping carts. Thankfully, I didn't really need those resources. Another way that you can lower that mutant threat level is if you complete this recon objective, which requires quite a bit of planning to get all those Scavenger site tokens in that order, but it is doable. All right, so here we are. Time to trek. Another Whisperer. 3 health. Let's plan this out. Spend an ammo. I'm going to use that for 2 successes. Shuffle it up. See what we managed to get. 1 success. That gives us 3, so we only do 1 damage. Then we got to roll our d6 over here. Ooh, that's a 6. Our mind is at 4. That means we lose 2 morale. I have 3 successes. It does 1 damage. But if I spend 1 ammo, I could actually increase my successes by 1, which will give me 4, which will do her 2 damage. Since this is the end of the game, might as well do it. So she has 2 damage. Now we're going to move on to our melee. So I got 2 shields and 2 successes. I can exhaust 1 cube to gain 1, so let's do it. I'm going to get 3 successes. And she uses 2 red, a green, and a white die. I could also exhaust 1 boost cube to force the enemy to reroll 1 die if I want to. All right, so she has 1 success and I have 3. So that means it's 2. She goes down for 2 health, but she blocks 1. I attack her for 1 health, which defeats her. That means we've completed our mission. What do we get? When we get a follower, why not? See what we get here. Ooh, a guru. He's charismatic and opportunistic. And we get 2 experience points, mine as well. And we get to place our final mission token on the mountain range, which means we have completed our 3rd mission. And that means we win the solo game. This is the first time on camera. This is the first time I've ever won this game. I've been playing it for a week, and this is the first time I've ever beaten it. I think this might even be the first time I've ever beaten any game on camera. I lost at, Subterra, I guess 2 people survived, but I lost under Falling Skies. Wow. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about that. We had some good story encounters, not bad events. And I guess we're pretty lucky with our combat encounters. No one too ridiculously difficult. Fighting the bosses I find is quite a challenge. And like I said, this is the first time I ever beat a boss. So if I didn't beat a boss, we would have lost the game probably in the previous round because the mutant threat level would have gone up 1 higher. I think that's the only way you could actually beat the game is at some point you have to fight a boss to bring down that mutant threat level. But you could only actually do a boss encounter when you make it past your level 1 missions. So it's kind of a long game. It's actually taken me about 90 minutes to complete the game. And what I find really interesting about Posthuman Saga is now that I've played this 5 or 6 times, every time I play it, it's been totally different. You have different map tiles that are going to come out. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're unlucky. Different story encounters, different event cards, even different landmarks. So every time you play through the game, it's going to be very different. You have 5 different characters you could play, all that have different strengths and weaknesses. Scavenger, obviously with a higher mind stat, allows you to get that extra mind challenge every time you forage, which gives you more resources. You have multiple different boss enemies you can encounter and tons of different regular enemies you could fight. When it comes to the mutations, the major mutations and the minor mutations, each one could have a completely different effect on you. And also if you start to gather followers, you can have tons of benefits and they could change events and change story encounters. So depending on how you play the game, even if you happen to choose the same story numbers, even if you happen to choose the same type of tiles, it'll always play out differently. Obviously, if you go up to multiplayer too, there's different types of challenges. It could always go player versus player or in co-op where you're all working together. So I feel really good about that. I feel really good that I actually won and you got to witness that. That's very exciting for me. Probably not so exciting for you, but exciting for me. Both of these Tsushima automatic weapons do a lot of damage, and this is the first time I've ever gotten them. So they were very helpful, though this is also the first time I've gotten so many mutations. Sometimes having a visible mutation right away when you have a story encounter, people attack you, and that's not really great. Also, when you fight human enemies, sometimes they do more damage. But all in all, it seemed to work out. And thankfully, I managed to complete the 3 missions. I find there's a lot going on in this game. There's a lot of challenge to it. You do have to think your way through some of the problems to plan ahead to make sure that as you're getting to the next day, if you want to do one of those secondary actions, you have to have enough food. Now, of course, if you don't want to eat, you could always take the fatigue. But if your morale is already low, if your morale gets to 0, you're going to get knocked out. And the biggest problem with getting knocked out when you're playing the solo game is that the mutant threat level counter goes up 1. You lose your followers and you lose a few other things, but that mutant counter going up 1 is going to be a problem. There's some minor deck building in this game with the different skills that you could acquire, mostly exploration and combat. I really do love the story elements because it creates a whole universe. If you like the post-apocalyptic theme, you're really going to love all the different things that are going to happen to you as you play this. There's a lot of chance involved with the randomness of the dice. As much as you get to plan out your actions, the enemies are very random in how they're going to react to you, right? And that's the whole thing with having dice. So there's some randomness to it. There's some luck. So there you have it. My first successful game of Posthuman Saga. I'm really glad you got to witness it to prove that it actually happened because it has never happened before. It's cool to see that the more I play these games, the better I get at them. Obviously, that makes sense. It just, for me, it's hard to believe because I'm just so new to it. But I can see since the beginning of the week when I started playing this game, I've already gotten a better understanding of how the mechanics work and the strategies you got to put in place to actually succeed at completing the mission. I always ended up losing right near the end of it, so there was something around that part of the game that I needed to strategize better. So obviously lowering that mutant threat level and preparing for the stronger combat encounters. I hope you enjoyed hanging out and watching me go through a game of Posthuman Saga. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. But for now, I'm just going to say goodbye, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.